Hi guys, it's only me today. So welcome back to the Cake Eaters Avalanche podcast. Coming at you after a pretty crap hockey game. Um, I doubt any of us had strong expectations coming into this thing, given the fact that the Bruins have been so good this season, especially at home. They have yet to lose a game at home this season, and the Avs are half dead and got even more dead during the game, which was really the only thing you really didn't want from this game, but it happened anyways because the hockey gods are just that fun. Um, Blake is obviously not here right now. He had some stuff to do with his family, and then he was mad about the game. So I just told him I'll handle it myself because it was going to be late anyways. Um, and I had to write about it anyways. So I have enough of my thoughts together. Um, so yeah, I'll just do our typical thing. I'll just gonna preface this. I didn't have a great sports day today. Great day, uh, period. But I mean, it was fine, I guess, outside of the sports because the U.S. got knocked out. Had to wake up at 7 in the morning for that, for some reason. Thanks FIFA. And then this game happened, and I didn't have huge expectations, but there were a lot of things that just went wrong, and it was incredibly frustrating. So we'll get into those, but let's just go by goal really quick. Give a little bit of recap. So to start the game, pretty routine stuff. Pretty even hockey, I'd say. It was kind of fun, some entertaining hockey, back and forth, high intensity. It was, kind of what you've seen from these teams in matchups of years past where they'd be healthy. Um, but eventually, so the Bruins got two power plays to start the game. The first one, the Avs killed pretty good. There was one play where David Pastrnak absolutely smoked a post, so they got pretty fortunate on that. But he made up for it by scoring on the next one. Um, I you know, I don't like complaining about the refs because I feel, whiny and bitchy, but like there's times like tonight where they just sucked. Um, and that was shown on this penalty where Brad Marchand completely dived. Dryden Hunt tapped him in the chest. He dove, and the ref was just completely bit on it so hard. He just sunk his teeth into that. He was like, yes, that's a penalty. I need to call that. It was just very weird considering, they were letting both teams get away with a lot of stuff earlier in the game, and then to call what shouldn't have been a penalty to begin with after you just gave the Bruins a penalty was just an inconsistent choice, and that's always the worst part about refs to me. It's like, look, you cannot call anything, that's fine. That's just then you're being consistent with that. But if you're gonna just choose when to call and just completely just make it up on the fly, you're just doing your job poorly. And that was something that was very prevalent tonight. But I'll get into that later. Anyways, it was a really nice play. Brad Marchand passed it through the seam to David Pastrnak, and he doesn't miss those very often. One timer alone in the other circle, pretty simple. Jason Megna got absolutely lost though. This is like, I don't know, whatever game in a row where he's just been unacceptably bad. Like, I understand he's an AHL player, but now he's actively hurting the team. And like, I understand it's like a penalty kill and he doesn't do that very much. So like, it's a little bit of a wiggle room, but you should know how to cover guys. I feel like he's played enough PK. I don't know. He's played enough hockey and he knows the game enough that he should be able to cover that a little bit better, but he doesn't. And so the Bruins score to go up 1-0. The Avs get a power play. It sucks. The Avs power play was pretty crap all night. I'll get into this later, but I thought the Avs stars were just straight up unacceptable tonight. Very rarely, especially this season, do I bag on them. But this is going to be a game where I'm not gonna say it was unacceptable in a way, but at the same time, at least in Cale Makar, I understand why. Nathan MacKinnon had 5 points the other night, so I'm like a little more forgiving on him. Brantanen has been quiet for a few games in a row. I know he had some points last game, but he just hasn't been good enough. He hasn't been nearly as dominant. So those three really were going to be the key to the game, and they just weren't. And on this power play, at some point before that, Lehkonen went out after Charlie McAvoy absolutely body slammed him. you've probably seen the video that Blake actually tweeted, circling around Twitter. So, yeah, that wasn't a penalty apparently because it was after the whistle, and that means nothing is illegal. Just a shining moment in NHL officiating, but whatever. That didn't really make a difference. There was a lot of stuff that the Bruins got away with out of the whistle. At one point, Brad Marchand literally put his stick in between Jean-Luc Foudy's legs and literally flipped him, which in my opinion should have at the very least been a fucking penalty. If you could make an argument for so many different disciplinary things on that play because it is so dangerous. He flips him on his head. That is so unbelievably dangerous. Like if an Avs fan, if an Av had done that, I would have been like, yeah, no, you can't do that. That is just fucking stupid and dangerous. But for some reason, these refs were just eating out of Brad Marchand's hands tonight because it was seconds after he got away with that. He dove, and then he gets away with that. And I'm like, how are you letting this happen? This is just dangerous hockey. Like, I know they don't like Brad Marchand hasn't, he has a history of shenanigans off faceoffs, and it's always been my least favorite thing about him because he never gets called for it. He literally stepped on a dude's stick, and the rest were like, "No, that's fine. That's fine." He's Brad Marchand. This is why everybody hates him because he does scummy shit. But what people hate most about him is that he gets away with it. Like it's just unacceptable that call was missed. That was my biggest gripe with the officiating the entire night was that call right there because that is just straight up dangerous. It's not even during the course of a play. It's not accidental. It's completely intentional, and it's absolute bullshit that Brad Marchand got nothing on it. And that's probably the extent. There's one other thing that annoyed me about the refs tonight that I know a few other people have mentioned, so I'm not going to go too hard on it. But that one, I didn't see a lot of people talking about it, and that pissed me off. It's just another thing of like dead puck, anything goes. It's really a bad part of the sport, and it can lead to a lot of injuries. And it did for the Avs tonight. So that's really just unacceptable from the refs. But it's not anything new for the NHL. But let me get back to the goal. Trent Frederick would score his first of two with a little bit of time left in the first. After this was where my biggest like, Mac, what are you doing moment of the night was. He had a 1-2 play, a give and go on the boards with someone. I don't remember who it was. Oh, it was Pavel Zacha. And Mac like just completely he was just got lost in the sauce. I don't know. He didn't seem like he like bit on it. He just kind of froze, and then McAvoy just beat him. So he got a free shot, and then Frederick was just there to tap in the rebound. And that really didn't feel good because, one power play goal on like a penalty that was, a questionable call, given the circumstances was fine. But 2 goals, especially when it's your stars on the ice, it feels bad. It just does not feel good. And it was at the end of the second period. Just not great. And then at the start of the third, there was that whole nonsense with the Jake DeBrusk goal. I didn't realize that would have been his 100th goal at the time. So that kind of sucks for him. But also, there was no way that goal should have counted. I mean, you look at it, not only does he knock the net off before the puck crosses, which is why they blew it dead because, no Av influenced him to do that. But it looked like he also kicked it in. Like it was like under Francouz and he took his foot like Francouz and he just took it from underneath and just kicked it in. So there was no way that goal should have counted. Boston fans were very upset about it. This was probably I'm complaining about the refs, but the most infuriating, the stupidest part of the night was Bruins fans. But when isn't it, to be honest? Sorry, I got a bunch of gunk on my lips that's annoying me. God damn it. Exciting stuff. Sorry, audio listeners. So yeah, that was unfun to say the least. Wait, no, what I'm mixing thoughts here. It's good call. I thought they played that well. we've seen the precedent be set many a time where if your player knocks it off the net off and the puck looks like it's going to go in, it counts as a goal. But if you knock it off, tough shit. Sorry about it. It's unfortunate because I know like Jake DeBrusk isn't meaning to, and to be honest, the Avs probably deserve to get it because Francouz absolutely flubbed that puck. I guess the Avs. It was I don't know, but yeah, you gotta be more aware of your surroundings. And he did also kick it, I'm like 90% sure. So it's, yeah, like I said, either way, it shouldn't have counted. But Jacob MacDonald really wanted to make sure the Bruins did get that goal back. So he just was like, here, David Krejci, make a breakaway pass to David Pastrnak. And, I don't know if you know about David Pastrnak, guy who scored a goal earlier in this game. He's got a lot of points this year. He's good at scoring goals. He tied Alex Ovechkin for the Rocket once. So, yeah, pretty good goal scorer that guy is. And he didn't miss here. I mean, just a really nice shot, nice play. The Avs didn't make life easy on themselves tonight, but outside of that goal, they didn't really make life hard on themselves. That one was just purely like just shooting themselves in the foot, and that was really frustrating. But fortunately, after that, things kind of started to calm down. It felt like the Bruins were like, all right, we're playing half an AHL team. And the Avs were just like, their stars weren't really threatening up until that point. So it was just kind of like, all right, we could probably just coast this in. And the Avs just, their depth can only do so much. And their stars weren't doing anything. So it was just kind of like they were just coasting into. It felt like the Avs kind of bunted on this game to begin with by playing Francouz. You feel like if they wanted to win, they would have played Georgiev. I'm not sure how much the result would have changed. I don't know if Bednar really it's weird. I don't know if maybe the fact that Lehkonen got hurt played into the fact that the Avs top guys played so bad. Like if they were like really careful, they were just being super careful. Like, okay, we just can't get hurt. We're probably going to lose this game. Let's just not get hurt. That might be it. So that I could give them a pass on that because in the grand scheme of things, that is perfectly acceptable. It's a little frustrating, but when you're out this many guys, you just cannot afford to lose either of those three players. So I'll allow it if that was the case. But obviously I don't know for sure. And even then it's just a little like, I feel you give a little bit more, but, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but, yeah, I don't know. That was kind of the vibe is that the Avs pretty much after that point were like, okay, we don't want to get hurt. We're probably going to lose this game anyways. Let's just get this over with. And then, yeah, so just the second period was just kind of phone it in. The Avs got a power play, sucked again. Going into the third period, I tweeted out our mission was to get rid of Ullmark's shutout because I did not want to get shut out for the second time in a week, especially to Boston because screw those guys. So yeah, and then the Bruins got three power plays at the start of the second. They got one at the beginning. I don't remember what that one was. Was that the EJ one? Yeah, that was the EJ one. That was probably the worst of the night because there were some replays and some talks circulating around of, Jean-Luc Foudy got called for a slash because he went to bat a puck and he got a guy in the hand. And, the popular saying nowadays is, well, if you get him in the hands, they're going to call it. Not the case if you're Charlie McAvoy. Charlie McAvoy didn't get called for a lot of things tonight. Some, they just weren't calling in general, so it was fine. But, he definitely got his stick on the hands like at least 3 times tonight and just got nothing. Whereas Eric Johnson put his stick around a guy, didn't pull him, didn't do anything. He maybe tapped his hands in the slightest. He didn't do anything that hooked. And they were just like, that's a penalty. And he was irate about it, and rightfully so. Because, look, if you're going to call that, I get it, because he's getting his stick up and he's hitting him in the hands. But you can't not call that after what you've called earlier. I would be probably pretty upset about you calling that anyways. because it's not a hook to begin with, and you're only calling it because of the tap on the hands. But, that's how it works. At least they're consistent with if you touch a guy's hands with your stick, you're going to get called for it. That was not something they were particularly consistent with tonight, but whatever. So EJ was mad about that one, and then Jean-Luc Foudy got another one. No, so the Avs killed that one off. And then they got called for another one where it was the Jacob MacDonald one. Right, and then the second period there was a penalty shot. Because Jacob MacDonald 3 times today gave up a breakaway. 1 time got scored on, 2 times got penalties. So that's fun for him. Pretty terrible player for the Avs tonight. But obviously, I'll get into that when I do, our usual disappointing players. It was a pretty, blah penalty shot. Nosek just was, I don't know, not interested in it or something. And Francouz made the easiest penalty shot shootout breakaway save he'll ever make. So, yeah. So anyways, let me get back to the third period. So, I want to reiterate, I think I feel so bad because I know Blake would hate it if I was bitching this much about the refs, but they were just so bad tonight. It wasn't even just me complaining about it. So many people were just upset about them. So that's why I feel a little bit more comfortable doing it. Because Jacob MacDonald had a bad night tonight, but he gets called for holding when I don't know how anything he did was remotely holding. You could maybe talk yourself into because he did get I don't know, dude. He didn't really seem to do anything that was close to a penalty, but it was just he was close to a guy. I think it was Frederick. He fell, and they were like, "No, that's a penalty." And then, the Avs had to kill most of that, and then the Avs drew a penalty, and Nick Foligno was pissed, and the Boston fans were pissed because he got his stick in his hands, and it's you're winning 3-0 to a team with half an AHL lineup. You just caught the other team just got called for this exact same thing, and everybody in Boston was throwing the biggest hissy fit about it. And I was like, really? You're just gonna this is the hill you're gonna die on in this game? After that, it's not like they just randomly started calling this. They called it on the Avs literally 5 minutes before. But it was just I don't know. Boston really showed their Bostonness tonight. I'll say that much. And that can be taken in good ways, bad ways, however you want. It's probably accurate. So, yeah, it was he was very upset about it. But the refs made sure he wasn't because they called Jean-Luc Foudy again because he tapped a guy in the hands. And it was at that point where I was like, okay, look, I don't care if you called Nick Foligno for it. I don't care if you called. Just stop calling penalties because the refs were just inserting themselves into this game, especially at the beginning of the third. And it was just dude, this is ref ball. This is or ref puck. It was just so unbearable to watch. And it was so inconsistent, so bad, so soft, given the intensity and what they've let go in the game before. I feel bad for Jean-Luc Foudy because part of it is being undisciplined. Part of it is being unlucky, and part of it is just he's getting such a tight whistle. He's just getting called for plays that other players are getting away with, and that just aren't egregious enough penalties that I feel need to be called during the course of a hockey game. But it is what it is. Nothing much you can change about that. I'll get into this later, but I think he's continued to improve, and I thought he showed pretty well tonight. But yeah, and then so pretty much it was just 4-on-4 for a while. Whatever, that whole mess was done, and finally, he gets out of the box, forces a turnover, Andrew Cogliano buries it. It warmed my heart to see that shutout get broken. I yelled a lot of things at Boston, and there was enough time left. The Avs could have made a comeback, and they tried. The Top Guns actually showed up. Like, they got offensive zone pressure and, like, were cycling the puck. They got, like, a few nice chances off of it, but it wasn't really particularly dangerous. Makar and Taves and at one point Girard just refused to get a shot on net. So that was not helpful to the cause. They pushed for a while, kind of petered out. And then they made a bad turnover, and Boston scored on a 2-on-1, where I think all three of those guys were at fault: McKinnon, Rantanen, and Makar. And then Boston scored again on a bad rebound from Frankie, which was probably the only goal that I'm really like, Frankie, about. Unfortunately for Frankie, because up until that point, he was actually 900 and he made some really nice saves. But, it was the goal was effectively pointless, except for the fact that it was scored by DeBrusk, so it was his 100th goal. Depending on how you feel about him, I think it's kind of cool. I've always kind of liked Jake DeBrusk. He always seems to score against the Avs, so I have a little bit of a grudge against him, but I don't know. I think he's a talented player. I like his relationship with his dad, so whatever. Tangent aside. So they scored in like 10 seconds apart, and then it was at that point where you're just like, I mean, the fourth one was enough where you're like, okay, game's over, because there was like 5 minutes left. But yeah, and then they scored that one. And then Jean-Luc Foudy continues to piss people off, and AJ Greer, who I've always liked, decides to be a jackass and just take a run at him and effectively punch him in the face. Something he probably could have gotten more than a roughing minor for, but it is what it is. The Avs had like a few nice chances on it, didn't score. Game was pretty much over. So yeah. That's a rundown of effectively what happened in the game. The Avs had their chances earlier in the game. I think it was after it was 1-1. I don't remember. But McKinnon and Rantanen had a 2-on-1, and Rantanen made a really nice pass to McKinnon, but he didn't elevate the puck at all. So Ullmark made a nice save. Jean-Luc Foudy drove the net hard on one of his first shifts and just hit the post. That was unfortunate. JT Compher, great play by Charlie Coyle on the power play in the second period, because he had a wide open net and Coyle just absolutely just SWAT teamed him. So that was brutal. Not a lot of chances on the whole. Literally all strengths the Avs had. 2.19 expected goals, with 1.35 of them coming in the first period. So they weren't particularly dangerous. It's not a game that you really like. Boston fans, great. You can feel so good about this. I really don't care. It's unfortunate because I think Boston is a good team. And it would be nice to see these two teams play each other at full strength. It's just not going to happen, because the Avs play them next week, and the most they could probably get back is like maybe Lehkonen. I doubt it. Did not seem like a good injury, because of course it wasn't. You're really reaching on some of these guys, like maybe Darren Helm, maybe Bowen Byram. You're probably, the chances are better that you're getting no one back than anyone. So it's just gonna, like, some other people, Rudo at DNVR Avalanche, I just want to give him credit for this idea, did point out Boston was really avoiding a best on best battle. Like, even in the third period when they were winning, Jim Montgomery was rolling out Bergeron, DeBrusk, and Marchand against the Avs third line. I don't know. It was when it was even, they were going best on best, and then when Boston started to pull away, they were scrambling a little bit. So that could help the Avs out. I doubt it. Just because they're just so, depth is just not there right now. And I doubt it'll change before the next Boston game, which I will check right now, is on Wednesday. So how many days is that? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday? 3. It's 3 days away from today. 4 if you're really being generous. Maybe 5. 4 or 5. I doubt much will change by then. No one has been like practicing with the team in a no contact. Everybody's been skating by themselves. So I doubt anything will change, which really sucks because you want to see how you as a just completely objective, unbiased fan, you want to see two of the best teams in the league play each other. And as a team of either of these fans, you want to measure yourself up against another talented team, but that's just not going to happen this year. It also sucks because Boston fans will never realize that the Avs are half dead, so they're going to parade around like they've won the Stanley Cup. They did this last year when they beat us in Boston. It's just the way Boston fans are. So yeah, they're their own special little whiny ass demon. But it was whatever. It's unfortunate. They're not a division or even a conference opponent, so it's not huge. Like, if you're going to play them, you're going to play them in the cup. And if anything, it's more of an advantage for you than for them. Because if you do end up playing them in the cup final, they're going to have 0 looks at you, and you're going to, as a healthy roster, and you're going to have played them twice with a healthy roster. So, because even Olmark came back today. So now they don't really have anybody injured anymore, as far as I know. But yeah, so that's unfortunate. The Avs definitely could have at least made this game closer, or won it even, but they just didn't finish their chances. I have hope, and like realistic, strong hope that when they play on Wednesday, the Avs Stars will perform much better, because this was one of the worst games they played in a while. Like I said, it felt like they either didn't care or they just didn't want to get hurt. And I think it's more towards the latter, just because, very rarely do those 3 guys not care. Cale Makar was more of a case if he played 30 minutes against Buffalo for whatever reason. I think that's terrible game management by Bednar, to play him 30 minutes, but whatever. It is what it is. He was clearly tired tonight. Hopefully he is not like that against Philadelphia. Fortunately, Philadelphia is a much weaker team, but the Avs are so injured that, not quite the advantage that they would normally have, but you still got to win that game. I know I'm jumping all over the place here. It's hard on a solo podcast. I'm just kind of rambling, talking about pertinent things. Sorry. 1 second. All right. So, yeah. One other positive. I don't think the Avs played a bad game tonight. Like I said, I just think it was their stars. And like I said, I think they'll play better. And they'll probably have fewer given on Wednesday. And like I said, I don't think that really makes a difference, but I don't know. This Pavel Francouz has just not been getting good goal support this year. So I don't know why. So I don't think Georgiev has as well, but it's been less bad probably. But we'll see. So anyways, the other positive that I did want to mention was last year the Avs did lose 5-1 against the Bruins in Boston. And they won the cup that year. So maybe that's just the thing. I doubt it, but it would be super funny if it was. So we shall see. Got a long time to wait for that. And then, yeah. So one other thing I wanted to point out, just while I was dogging on Nick Foligno earlier. I want to do it one more time. He laid a hit on Jacob MacDonald. Not a dirty hit. Completely legal. You know what Jacob MacDonald did? He got up, played hockey. Andre Senglin lays a perfectly clean on Nick Foligno. Hit on Nick Foligno. You know what Nick Foligno does? He cries a little fit, and he bitches, and he's like, you need to fight me, and they fight, and it's a solid fight. I was just at the time I wasn't really paying attention because I was just making fun of Nick Foligno for being an absolute soft motherfucker. When he's such a tough guy and he brings so much grit, but he can't take a hit to save his life. When he does, he feels like he's been slighted by God himself. So, I just wanted to bring that up really quick. Just, jab at Nick Foligno, who is certifiably washed. But yeah, so I'll get into this most disappointing player. I'm going to go with the two Max. MacDonald, terrible game. Gave up like 50 breakaways. It was just so bad. He wasn't doing anything productive on either side of the ice. He was just actively hurting the Avs. McKinnon, Rantanen made some plays. Rantanen made that pass to him. I think Rantanen was pretty sloppy too. I would consider him too, but just McKinnon was, he had the puck a little bit more, so his mistakes were more noticeable. And he had that one that led to a Bruins goal, and he didn't score on one that he absolutely should have. So it was just kind of double for him. Super sloppy. Felt like he didn't care. And like I said, it could just be that he wasn't trying to get hurt. I'm not going to make assumptions about him. It's not a big deal with him. With MacDonald, I obviously didn't say this, so I feel like a tool to be like, oh, well, I figured this would happen. But everybody paraded around his underlying numbers for like a shortened season where he played like half the games. And I was like, okay, I mean, those will probably not be as good. And yeah, no, he's just not very good. I know Blake has made some arguments sometimes that he's an NHL defender. He's not. He's just not. He's just not a smart enough player or consistent enough. So I just don't. I don't know if he's better than Curtis McDermott. Like, I know Blake would say, yeah, well, at least Bednar trusts MacDonald. And I'm like, that's great. But, I'd rather have someone I don't trust who doesn't like I know people don't like Curtis McDermott, but most games he's just nothing. Jacob MacDonald for a while has just been actively bad. And it's like, just not. There's a reason one of them's in the NHL and the other one's in the AHL. So, whatever. Those are my 3 stars. I don't really have any. I don't think I'll give some out. I'll give my third one. I'll give an honorable mention to Frankie because he made some really nice saves, and up until those 2 goals, he was really good. And even that 4th one wasn't really that bad. I'll give my 3rd star to should I give my 3rd star to? 3rd star. Crap. Sorry, I'm really trying to think here. 3rd star. This is tough. Maybe I'll just give Frankie the 3rd star. I'm going to give JLF the 2nd because I really liked his game. I thought he was impactful on both sides of the ice. Penalties, I don't know. I feel like he's getting unlucky on them. And he's drawing just as much as he takes. So I'm like, I guess it's a net neutral. I don't know. Dude has a serious knack for pissing people off. I don't know why. I will say I wrote about this. My problem is that you're being so hard on him with his penalties. A guy of his size, he can't defend. He's not big enough to body a dude up. They're big tough hockey players. They can take a tap on the hands sometimes. This whole anything on the hands, you don't need to call everything that's on the hands. If a guy goes like this and slashes a guy in the hands, or he pulls on a dude, there should be more discretion rather than just, touch his hands. That's a call. And I feel like Foudy's kind of had his ability to play defense taken away a little bit, but I think he still made some really nice reads. He's playing hard. He's willing to get in the dirty areas. That's going to pay off for him eventually. Like I said, he almost had that one in the first. And clearly he pisses people off. So once he stops taking penalties, he's going to be drawing a lot for the Avs, probably. So we shall see with that. I guess real quick, just going back on what I was talking about earlier with the injuries. I know Martin Kaut did go to Boston for some reason, sit in the press box. I guess he might play in Philadelphia. So he might be back. I doubt he'll be a huge impact, but I'm getting tired of Jason Megna, so if you could put him in, slide Jason Megna out, that would be fantastic. So yeah, and then first star Andrew Cogliano. Oh right, and also with Foudy, he made the turnover that resulted in Cogliano's goal. Nice finish from Cogliano. I thought he was, that third line continues just being solid, working hard. I think they were on the ice against for a goal against, if I am not mistaken, 2 actually. But like I said, they were getting constantly matched up with like Pasternak. And I mean, what I saw was Pasternak. Or wait, Marchand. No, yeah, they were getting matched up with their top 6 a lot, and they're technically the Avs' top second line, so it's not like a huge thing, but they're in over their heads. So, it is what it is. It's unfortunate, but yeah, not much else to say about this. You got to beat Philadelphia. If you beat Philadelphia, then you finish this road trip dead even, 500, whatever. And then you finally get to play some games at home. You play every other day, so that helps too. Maybe, that increases more and more games that you play without guys, but, we'll see. Eventually, I have a strong feeling that a good grip of those guys will be back before the new year, hopefully. Knock on wood. But we'll see. It was a frustrating game, mostly just because of, like, how it happened. You knew they were going to lose. The fact that, the refs were just wackadoodle crazy. Boston fans, doing the crying thing when they're beating the Colorado Avalanche. Your top guys just not really showing up, just not making it as hard as they could have. It really just felt like they punted on this game. That's not something you often see the Avalanche do. So that's a little weird. I don't know if it's concerning, but just a little odd to me. I don't know if I really have any other thoughts on this game. It's just not a huge deal. It sucks because it's Boston and they're annoying, but they've been so good so far. Eventually that'll stop. They're not going to play 14-3 hockey or whatever in 3 hockey for the rest of the year. They're going to fall off at some point. But yeah, Blake will probably be back on Tuesday for a solo pod, or not a solo pod. Sorry, for the Flyers post game. No, it's Monday. Sorry, my brain's all jumbled. So yeah, I mean, unfortunate game. Hopefully the Avs stars really bring it. At least for the rest of this week. Hopefully Lehkonen isn't out too long. Comfort blocked a shot and he looked like he was favoring it. So hopefully that's not anything serious. Hopefully that was just, a stinger in the moment. Gotta get guys back soon. This team is just so injured. I know Blake said he was concerned, and I'm definitely concerned because there's so many games happening right now that you can't drop. You need points. You can't drop them. But he was comparing them to Vegas last year, and it's like, I'm going to pump the brakes on that until there's guys who are out for the remainder of the season or months at a time. Because the Avs' most long-term injury, Gabriel Landeskog, is already on his way back. So however long that takes, we'll see. But yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully just listening to me babble for 40 minutes wasn't too unbearable for you. Do something fun on Sunday. I know the Broncos play, so don't watch that. Deion Sanders. That was cool. See, I got no, I know I go to ASU, but I got CU things. I'm a CU guy. I like Deion Sanders. Double Deion. I know that's not, the right Dion, but that's okay. So yeah, hopefully you guys didn't hate this too much. I would normally say I hope you guys enjoyed, but there was nothing really to enjoy about this game, probably this podcast. So either way, have a good one. Make sure you check back with us on Monday. That's when the game is. Um, for more of us and less of me talking. So see you, everybody.